안녕하십니까? 저는 Jens Dahlgaard 교수입니다. 나는 한국 사람합니다. 나는 우리 집 사람합니다. Thank you very much. I will continue in English. And my lecture today is about how to strengthen connection between executive leadership, quality practices, and their practitioners. This is a very simple question, isn't it? But the problem with simple questions is that it's not easy. There are no simple answers. Answers may be very complex. Nevertheless, I will try to give you some simple answers during this lecture here. And here is the first simple answer. You have to build excellence through trust and commitment. Build excellence through trust and commitment. And then I think some of you will ask, how do we do that? Because this is also a very simple statement. Do it in this way. And of course, there are many critical success factors to master. And I will come up with, in the beginning here, 4 of those factors. So first of all, you should assure that you have committed and skillful leaders. Committed and skillful leaders who, like a conductor, are practicing good leadership every day. The next critical success factor is that you have a plan. A plan which are communicated to everybody concerned. And we know that when we think about music, when we think about an orchestra, especially a symphony orchestra, all musicians have a plan in front of them which guide them on what to do and when to do. This is the same in a company setting. The third critical success factor is that you should have tools and methods to achieve what is expected of you. Everyone should use the best available tools and methods. If you have poor tools, if you have poor methods, of course you will be in big trouble. So a part of quality management, of course, is to train people from top to bottom on using best available tools so that you in an effective way can achieve the aims of your job. And of course, like in an orchestra, people should be committed and skillful. If you have committed and skillful people, you will be able to achieve your goals through partnership, working together in teams to achieve the aim of the job. And the aim of the job for a musician, for an orchestra, is of course to produce profound affection on the audience, so that people, when they go out of the music hall, they feel, oh, they have been in another world. And you can think about that also in working with other types of services, products. It's the same. The output you produce should have profound affection on the customers. So when they use the product and service, they feel, oh, this is so good. I want to spread the knowledge about this product. Maybe we heard about that by the previous invited speaker here at this conference. Of course, in history, in Korean history, there have been many great leaders who have been able to lead people to another state, to another level of satisfaction, another level of quality, life of quality. Maybe the best known example, in fact, I know it and it has impressed me very much, is what you can read on the wall of the National Museum in Seoul. The King Sejong's Hangul decoration from 1446. King Sejong, you know it. You practice what his vision. He wanted really that all people could get writing capabilities, and that was not possible with the old Chinese characters. Only top people, scholars, leading people in society were able to communicate in written language. But King Sejong could see, no, this is not the way. We have to really change this situation. All people should have the possibility to master Hangul. So intelligent, so simple language, which I was able to learn in 2 hours at a table in a restaurant in Seoul. It's fantastic. I think the most ingenious language in the world it is. So King Sejong, he was able to set up a vision or a change declaration which involved all Korean people. And I think this is one of the foundations or the main reasons why Korea today is so successful. Not the only reason, of course. Here's another good example from not 600 years ago, but in fact in a 600-year-old village. I met him a few days ago, a retired school teacher in Hahue village in Andong. I'm sure you have been there. It's a 600 years old village. And what I saw was this retired school teacher was really studying how to keep your mind free from personal desires and instead help others to grow. Myong Sim Bogam, clean your heart, clean your mind. It starts with you if you want to change things about you. I like that very much. So we can say here we have not a top-ranking official showing leadership, but an ordinary man showing leadership. And people who experience him will really become affected. And I'm sure there are a lot of such kind of people in Korea who practice daily leadership. And this is important for the success of what we talk about, what I talk about today, total quality management. You also know Samsung, of course. So fantastic company. Not so fantastic in 1993, where the message from Samsung's chairman Lee Kun-hee on the importance of quality came up. His message was, we need new management. And he defined new management as total quality management. What is interesting is that he said, from now on, it's quality first. Quality has the first priority. We will not be able to compete, we will not be able to have success, we will not be able to develop if you don't have that as the first priority. And the following is interesting. I don't know how it was presented. I only saw documentation about it in a report, he declared that Samsung will consider defects as a crime. Then we can think about what happens when defects crop up, because it's impossible not to have defects. But of course you can reduce defects to almost zero defect level. We know that. Change your priority from volume to quality. This is the time to do it. At that time, Samsung really had priority on quantity. And the following, I love it. Change everything except wife and children. And change starts from me and with small things. The last statement or command is really interesting, because everywhere when companies start a change program, everybody don't think about themselves. They point to others. Oh, we cannot produce quality because he or those, they are like hindrance for me to produce quality. So I think it's a good start for a company, good statements. In fact, I have no knowledge about how these statements, how these messages were implemented. But we know that Samsung really have become successful during the last 19 years by really focusing on total quality management and later on Six Sigma quality. So TQM was what Samsung really focused on in 1993 and onwards. We call it, within the scientific area of TQM, we call it now a new management innovation. I don't know if Samsung's chairman understood that in 1993, because at that time it was really a new management philosophy. The first book published on total quality management was in fact from 1989, only 4 years before Samsung's message to their people. John Oakland, professor from England, wrote the book Total Quality Management, and he defined total quality management is to build in quality in all functions, in all work. This is very simple, of course, but it is not easy to do it. You know that. Later on, there come many other definitions on what is TQM really. What is it all about? And I also contributed with a few books on that, and I have here 2 definitions which I want to show you. The first is TQM, Total Quality Management, is a management philosophy aiming at increasing customer and stakeholder satisfaction and reducing waste through continuous improvements, in which all employees actively participate by using appropriate quality tools and methods. Another definition, which I in fact like more, define TQM as a corporate culture characterized by increased customer and stakeholder satisfaction through continuous improvements, in which all employees actively participate. Those are some of the many definitions about total quality management. And often companies like those definitions, but they have problems to implement TQM. So if I shall respond to how to implement total quality management, I use, because I'm here in Ulsan, the capital of the Korean car industry. Many buses are produced here. So I use the bus as a metaphor. I call it the quality bus. So if you want to implement total quality management, you should really use a quality bus. Meaning, a quality bus has power both on the front rails and the back rails. You can see back rails, you have brainware, logic are impressed. So you really must have people who are able to think logically, systematically, and use it in their daily work. But that's not enough. That's the message. The most hard side of quality, the most hard side of total quality management is related to the front reels, where we focus on humanware. The back is brainware, logic, systematic logic thinking. The front reels are humanware, where we focus on the soft side, the human dimension of quality. We must never forget this is the most important side of quality. I will try to show that a very remarkable research study done in one of the biggest companies in Denmark approximately 10 years ago, a little bit earlier, in the beginning of this century. Danfoss, maybe you know Danfoss, I'm sure they have some subsidiaries here in Korea, a subsidiary company, producing a lot of different products. And in Danfoss, with more than 20,000 employees, it was realized that there was huge variation in managers' commitment, managers' personal commitment and loyalty to the company. And they wanted to understand why are there so huge variation in managers' commitment and loyalty. Some managers are really committed and loyal to the companies, others so and so, not so high. And of course, that affects also the people they have to lead. So we did a survey in Danfoss and asked many managers from many divisions, try to find out what are the causes behind loyalty and commitment. And we found out there were three main causes, three main factors which are behind, can explain the variation in loyalty and commitment. First of all, it was people's personal attitudes. People's personal attitudes to their job, to their work, to life, to people relationships. Of course, that's very important. So we measured personal attitudes. We also measured each individual's loyalty and commitment. You can ask, how did we do that? I don't have time to explain it. And we found out that there was a high correlation between personal attitudes and loyalty and commitment. The correlation coefficient was 0.72. This is really high. But we also found out that to explain, or let me say it in another way, we found out that it is possible to change people's personal attitudes. And we found out that there were two factors or two causes which could affect people's personal attitudes. First of all, it was top management, own boss and colleagues' practice of core competencies, the logical part. We focus on the logical part of total quality management here. So if people have high capabilities, high core competencies, and practice those core competencies in a good way, then it also will have an effect on personal attitudes. Behind that, we found another factor, which we call people's core values. which we can exemplify by the key words: showing respect for others, have trust to others, and be trustful, be open, be helpful, be honest. Those eternal personal values are really important if you will understand people's commitment and people's loyalty. And as you can see here, the highest correlation coefficient in this model, 0.88, was related between core values and core competencies, meaning that if you really practice, if top management, own boss, and colleagues really practice core values, it has a huge effect on how they practice core competencies, which have a relatively high effect on people's personal attitudes, which have a high effect on commitment. And we also found out there was a direct relationship from how people practice core values and their loyalty and commitment. So you can understand that after we found those statistical relationships, it was easy to us to give this simple message. The entrance to people commitment and loyalty is through core values. That's the best gate, the best entrance. There is also a reflection here, and the reflection is very simple. If people practice core values at a zero level, meaning that they don't practice it at all, people are dishonest, they don't show respect for others, and so on, then the result will really become, according to this model, zero loyalty and commitment, because this is a multiplicative model. So if you start with 0 on core values, the result will also be 0. So part conclusion here is that the core value dimension is the strongest motivator for people to practice quality management. Core competencies have less impacts on loyalty and commitment. Without core value, core competencies are of no interest. Managers and colleagues' practice of core values is the most critical enabling factor for creating people involvement, loyalty, and commitment. I found during the last year an interesting example from Boeing Aircraft Company in US, California, Seattle. They found out they do, as most companies do, a yearly employee survey where they measured a lot of things related to satisfaction. And they found out that the highest correlation with employee satisfaction are related with employee involvement, meaning that if employees really are involved, they will also become happy, satisfied. If they are not involved, it's the opposite. We can also reflect a little bit more. What does it look like if we have core competencies without core values? Well, people are selfish and practice their own often bad values in order to achieve their individual visions and goals. Such a situation will never be able to achieve sustainable results and long-term success as a business. The company in this situation are really using a fragile strategy to achieve excellence. Let me show you a very interesting survey from Denmark in 2008, where an organization surveyed 2,349 young academicians, meaning graduates from university, within their first 5 years of career. And they asked the selected academicians, young academicians, to what extent do you feel that your company practices its core values? And you can see here two charts. One were the respondents who had management responsibility, the left chart, and you can see that those who already had management responsibility, 23% said, yes, our company practice core values very much. 61 said, yes, in some way, some degree. 14% said little, and 2% said not at all. Then we can see almost the same result to all those young academicians who had their first experiences, 5-year experiences in the company. We almost saw the same picture. Then we can ask ourselves, what does that really mean? What are the effects of these results? Because here we have a picture of what is going on in Danish companies. Really many companies are involved in this survey here because the young academicians come from all over Denmark, different kind of companies, industrial companies, service companies, etc. The young academicians were also asked about their job satisfaction. We have 3 colors here, and the blue say that the response was, yes, I'm very satisfied. Black say, neither satisfied nor dissatisfied. And green, very dissatisfied, or just dissatisfied. And you can see here the companies who practiced very much their core values have a very high percentage of satisfied people. More than 90% said, yes, we are satisfied with our situation of working in this company. But if you go down to the other end of the scale, the companies who said, 2% said, not at all, we don't practice, or the young academicians said, this company don't practice their core values. Satisfaction, job satisfaction was just a little bit above 40%. And you can see a lot of very dissatisfied or dissatisfied employees, or many said neither satisfied nor dissatisfied. So this is really shocking about, and shows very clearly the importance of to practice the core value dimension. Now we'll show you some cases which can make it more lively, maybe. And this is about an old case from post-Denmark. And in fact, I have shown this case before in Korea, I think in the beginning of this century, maybe 10 years ago. But many things happened since 2002 where we presented this case. So post-Denmark was at that time, in 1997, one of the biggest companies in Denmark. They had 30,000 employees working with collecting mails, collecting parcels, sorting and delivering mails and parcels and so on, packages. And this company was in a crisis. The results had a negative trend during the last 3 years. Profit went down year by year. Customer satisfaction went down year by year. Maybe customers didn't get their mail, it disappeared. Employee satisfaction went down year by year. Employee absence went up, especially on Mondays. People didn't like to go to work. Why should we go to work if it was not a good experience? Employee turnover also went up. Many people left, said after a while, we don't want to work here, we find another job. Strikes, that mean conflicts between management and the union, was very usual. So you can understand that this company needed a strategy for changing the negative trend very soon. And I was involved at that time, And I could understand. I said to the top guy I talked with, you need TQM. This is what you should focus on. And then he laughed at me. He said, oh, we tried that 10 years ago, but TQM, not 10 years, only 4 years ago. But TQM failed. We couldn't implement it. And then I said, we discussed how they did, and I found out it was too much a commanding strategy for implementation, too much top-down and expert-oriented implementation where a small group decided everything. People could not become involved. It was like in the army, a command-oriented strategy. I said, okay, why not try TQM again, but with a new name and a new implementation strategy. The new name we decided on was TIQ, T-I-Q, Total Involvement in Quality. People love to be involved. People don't like so much to become managed. So that's the whole idea of this new name. And the new implementation strategy was focus on educating your people, your managers, ordinary people, involve them, empower them, change your culture, and do it through good leadership practices. And during during the next 2 months, we did a big self-assessment questionnaire survey where we tried to find out what people, here managers from top to third level managers and also group leaders, how they were experiencing their life, what were their assessment of different key performance indicators for becoming successful as a company. And you can see here we sent out 558, or we got responses from 558 managers and group leaders in 1997, a response rate of 79%. 2 years later, we repeated the same questionnaire, and also Royal Mail in England and Post Norway participated after that when they heard about this survey. And what we did was trying to measure people's experiences with the critical success factors of the European excellence model, going from leadership through people management, policy and strategy, and so on. So under each of those factors, we defined simple statements which people should evaluate. And for each statement, we asked the people to assess agreement. How much do you think that we practice according to this statement, and how important do you think it is? Let me show you here is the questionnaire in Norwegian language. But I have translated here 2 statements under leadership. Number 5, leaders' attitudes are based on openness, trust and respect. Really a core value statement. And number 6, leaders always show recognition when people have done a good job. Please assess, give a score. If you really agree on those statements, you circle 7. If you totally disagree, you give a score of 1, and you can of course choose in between 1 and 7. And you also give an assessment of how important is each statement. Quite unimportant, you circle 1. Very important, you circle 7. And here you have the results on leadership in 1997 for each of the statements on the leadership. And you can see especially the statements 5 and 6, which I translated, had a very low score on the agreement dimension, meaning they are not practicing very much, for example, recognition, openness, show respect, and so on. No, not at all. If they are good, all those points here should be near the diagonal. Here you have the results of people results in 1997. And when we saw those results, we said, we have never seen so low results, assessment results, during the last many years where we used this measurement methodology. It's really indicate we have here a very bad company, not able to implement total quality management. They need really some wake-up call. If we look at the 3 points most bad in this diagram, it's about employee satisfaction, very, very low, employee turnover, very, very low, absence and sickness, the score very, very low, meaning that there are very high absence and sickness in this company. So after that, it was decided, okay, we must change the culture in this company, and we must do it through education. And here is an overview about what was done. I call it the most massive education and training company in Denmark I have seen. It took 30,000 employees were educated and trained during the next 1.5 years, starting with top management. First, the top management team with the managing director and his top guys like the financial director, human resource director, director for production, director for technical things, and so on. They were trained for 5 days. Why did we start with them? I said, because you are the guys who know the least about quality. So you should understand what you have to do as leader. After that, you can participate in the next training session of your subordinates, the next level of managers, top management teams, the first level managers, which consisted of 75 managers. So they also had 5-day courses. And in those courses, the top guys from the first course participated as instructors. So we use this cascading principle to really train the whole company for 1.5 years. And of course, after training, people began to train in implementing what they learned during this course, to identify opportunities for improvement and change all the areas which they could see, oh, this is not good what we are doing here. So we can say that we really created total involvement in quality, TIC, and it was really understood that TIC is a leadership strategy for building a culture characterized by continuous improvements, creativity, and learning through the 4P. 4P means leaders really have to start with people, continue with partnership, building good partnerships, building processes and products. You cannot start at the top of the pyramid. You must start with your people and how they work in teams, in partnership. Then you can have success with changing your processes and your products, and you will achieve organizational excellence. I think I will drop here, but people, the message is in the 4P excellence strategy is to improve people first, so that all employees understand what may be improved, how to improve, and why. And also after that, improve partnership, improve how people on our teams are working. Important here, building trust between people, share knowledge, create new knowledge. Do that in internal and also external groups. Processes, simple here, improve how people and teams work, remove waste, and products, improve what the organization produces in order to satisfy customer needs. So we can say that Post Denmark was like this company here. They used, before their training, they used a fragile strategy. I mean, partnership, people, processes were not supported by leadership. It was like a house which can crash if just small wind are coming in from left or right or from back. So here I have the results of 2 years after, people results, you can see it became much better. You can see the 3 biggest gaps from 1997 really improved. That was personal turnover, sick days, and employee satisfaction really improved significantly. And we can see here the overview of Post-Denmark's results was that from 1999 to 2006, they changed the negative trend in results. They received the Danish Human Resource Prize 2 years after they started up. The company image improved significantly. Suddenly, people liked to work there. They didn't want to run away. They received the Danish Quality Award in 2004. They were nominated to the European Quality Award in 2006, and they achieved the highest profit ever in 2006. People satisfaction increased significantly compared to 1997, and they became top in Europe on customer satisfaction, speed, and reliability. So, this is my conclusion here. My answer: how to strengthen connection between executive leadership, quality practices, and their practitioners. First of all, build a culture where people practice the right values, competencies, and attitudes, based on a vision of inner desires, competencies, and values. A strong will to learn and improve, recognize own strengths, own weaknesses, and opportunities for improvement. And the 4P strategy and TIQ, TIC, total involvement in quality. Let us see how is the situation in Korea. I have a short survey here from 2007, which I found in a Korean newspaper, or my wife found it, and we could see some interesting results here. When do you hate to go to work? When I have problems with my leaders or colleagues, 29%. When my work is not recognized, 17%. When my salary is not matching my work, 12%. All of those figures indicate that there are also, it's not only post-Denmark, it's also in Korea that there are opportunities for improvement. And also those respondents were asked, what are the happiest moments in your working life? When my work was recognized, 46%. When I received unexpected bonus, 29% said, this is my happiest moment in my working life. When I have social meetings with colleagues whom I like, and then when my leader is on business trip, 9% said, this is really my happiest moment in my life. Isn't it interesting? This is my last slide, and maybe a good conclusion about, or a summary of how to achieve excellence, how to strengthen the connection between executive leadership and quality practitioners. You can see here, excellence can be attained if you care more than others think is wise. Care about your people, care about your customers. Risk more than others think is safe. Risk, here I think about decide on activities which may seem maybe not so economical. For example, in Post-Denmark, they decided, okay, we invest in 1.5 year training and education. It costs a lot of money. Why should they do it? Somebody will say, no, this is not safe. There's no guarantee for high profit. Dream more than others think it is practical. Without dreams, we will die. You can read that in the Christian Bible, the book of Proverbs. People without dreams will perish, will die out. It's the same. People really have dreams, and people like to do quality. People like to become excellence, but they cannot do it if they have bad leadership in their companies, of course, who don't practice the core value dimension. Expect more than others think is possible. Yes. I heard sometimes that managers don't involve their people because they don't expect that that it makes sense. They are not good in writing. Maybe they think they are not good in thinking. They don't have a high university degree. Believe in them, expect in them, then you will have success. Thank you very much.